If there was one African leader, a past African leader, that you think new leaders should use as a role model or at least learn from the person, who would that leader be and why?
Oh, that's a difficult question because there's so many leaders in the past who I admire. Um, but the one I think, if I had to choose, that I think was the most intriguing to me, and let me be clear, he wasn't in power for very long, so we don't know what his trajectory would have actually been.
Can I guess
Is
that
Thomas
person?
Sankara.
I knew it was gonna be Thomas Sankara.
I Patrice Lumumba was even shorter. He had no
Yeah,
time. I mean, he
yeah.
was barely in office, and he was young, and he didn't really understand what he was confronting. So I'm a big fan of Patrice Lumumba. I think he was an extraordinary figure. But Sankara is, somebody who came along in the 80s, and so he had seen, what happened to kind of some of his predecessors, and he had a much more sophisticated understanding of the political scene that he was entering into. And I think he was able to do stuff in Burkina that has had a lasting legacy. Right? And obviously, I've not spent time in Burkina Faso, so I don't know how people in Burkina view him. But I've read a lot about him, and I've read a lot of his writing, and I find it to be just really ahead of his time. And I would have loved to see, what he might have been able to accomplish if he was allowed to remain in power for longer than he was.
I mean, he was really ahead of his time, and likewise, I mean, I wish I could see what he would have done had he been in power for a long time, because the trajectory that he was going with was really a positive one and a strong one. And it's so unfortunate that every time we have a strong leader, well, they don't last. It's so unfortunate that that's the situation here.
But I think that again, like I said, there's no surplus, there's no shortage of leaders. And, just wonderful, wonderful young people across the continent who I think are ready to be given the opportunity. So I always want to shift the focus from individuals to the system, right? Because I think it's a failed system that is not cultivating this huge pool of young leaders who are ready to step in. And so as much as I mourn the loss of someone like a Lumumba or someone like a Sankara, they were confronting a system that, even as brilliant as they were, the system was still more powerful. And so we have to always keep our eye on the system, and realize that until we change the systems, there will be many more Sankaras and Lumumbas. But obviously, what we want is a world where Sankara and Lumumba are not the exceptions, but the norm. And
Absolutely.
that's what we all must keep working for.
No, that's true. They shouldn't be the exception, but the norm.